What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Social Club where everyone has a voice. I'm your host, Jacob Hale, and welcome to Super Bowl weekend. Real quick, I want to talk about the Seahawks versus the Patriots. Right now, comment down below your thoughts. Who do you think is going to win? I'm obviously going to tell you who I think is going to win and why, but I want to hear from you guys as well. As you know, everyone has a voice, so I just want to hear your opinion. Maybe you're more right than me. We'll see, but while you're at it, go ahead, like, follow, subscribe, check out all of our other content. Again, thank you guys so much for getting us to monetization. We have some really cool stuff that we want to do as a thank you for helping us get there. But with that being said, I'm a big analytics guy. I look at the stats, and I just want to say over 95% of the viewership we have do not follow this page. So please, just real quick, it's free. Just hit the subscribe button and let's move on. But let's talk about the Super Bowl here. I think in one way you can look at this as lackluster and not much of an interesting Super Bowl just because everyone likes an underdog story. And for some reason, we don't really feel that these two teams are necessarily underdogs. Now, yes, this is where Seattle comes in the comments and say, well, we haven't been in the Super Bowl in a very long time. And who are you to say that? And the Patriots haven't been good. This is where New England fans come in. Patriots haven't been good in a very long time. We've earned it. Listen, I'm just saying from an outside perspective looking in, I am not too giddy, not too thrilled about this Super Bowl as I have been about other Super Bowls. With that being said, I think there's going to be some really good football that's going to get played. That's just my opinion on it. So let's go over the teams real quick. Seahawks and the Patriots. I think we all understand who the Seahawks are and what they're about. They have an elite defense, and they're a very run-heavy team, play action. They don't ask Sam Darnold to do too much in the backfield, but when called upon, he has at times really stepped up for that team and has made some very key passes and has some really great performances in games, right? JSN, I mean, he's without a doubt the top 5 receiver this year. You can argue that he's number 1 or at least in the top 3 at this point, but he's just had a phenomenal year. He's going to be the best receiver on the field, hands down, right? And now you go to the Patriots. The Patriots, interesting because one, I've never seen a Patriots team that had all likable people. Stephon Diggs. But we'll leave Stephon Diggs out of it. A lot of the guys are actually very likable. What everyone wants to say about Drake May, Drake May is a very likable person. He's a second-year player, and he's been playing at an MVP level. I don't know for a win, but he's at least playing at an MVP level. Mike Vrabel, very likable guy. I personally didn't like how they fired him at the Titans. I didn't appreciate that. But he's getting a second chance, and he's back with the team that he played in the NFL with. So, that's really cool to see. And so just going over the team dynamics, the Patriots also, without a doubt, have an elite defense, but their offense is a little bit different. They're way more balanced than people give them credit for. And I think what makes them very dynamic, or what can make this a challenge for the Seahawks, is that their offensive passing game is more of passing by committee. So there's not a real true number 1 receiver for the Patriots, and there's not a true number 1 option. And what I mean by that, just to explain to you what it is, a number 1 receiver would be like, without a doubt, this guy needs to get 7 targets a game. I don't really see that. I know people would argue Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs barely got 1,000 yards, and he's coming off an ACL tear. I personally just don't agree that he is a true number one for the Patriots. And then the number one option, if you were to argue, would probably be Hunter Henry. But at the same time, there's plenty of games where Hunter Henry is not getting a lot of looks, not getting a lot of targets his way. So it's really just whoever's the hot hand they like to go to. I mean, and they just really have a dynamic running back duo there with Ramon Stevenson and Trayvon Henderson. So they're a very balanced team on offense. So it's very interesting how they're going to scheme up this Seahawks defense to try to take advantage of how balanced they are on the offensive side. So before I tell you who I think is going to win, let me just go over if a team were to win, how would they win? For the Patriots, I would say do whatever you can to make sure JSN does not get the ball. If you're going to lose based off the run game and them passing to Cooper Kupp and Rashid Shaheed, then congratulations, Seahawks, you've earned this one. But JSN is really their number one guy. And he has a complete disproportionate amount of the passing targets and the passing yards on the team. So without question, he's the number one guy that you have to lock up. And I would say for the keys for the Patriots offense, utilize the fact that you are receiving by committee type of offense to where don't feel like you have to throw the ball to really anyone, and make schemes to where whatever the Seahawks are giving you, that's where the ball is going to go in the opposite way, right? So Seahawks are playing deep, throw shallow passes where you have DeMario Douglas, you have Kayshon Boutte there, and Hunter Henry as well that can take advantage of that. If they want to play up and allow you to have one-on-one options and make you go deep, that's where you have Kyle Williams and Matt Collins to take advantage of that. So very tough team to bet on if you guys are betting people, because you really don't know until the game starts who's really going to get the ball on that team. But I would say that's my keys to win. You stop JSN by all means, and on the offensive side, you rely on your such diverse amount of receiver core. The running game is going to be the run game. I think they'll be solid, good, not great. And one more thing I would like to add is that if they're going to really make an attempt and actually win the game, it's also going to rely on Drake May's scrambling ability. He is going to have to be able to scramble for a couple first downs. And I think the Seahawks being able to stop him or not is going to be a big deciding factor of the game. Now, on the Seahawks side, how can the Seahawks win this? Well, first of all, if it's not broke, don't fix it. All right. They rely heavily on their run game. I think this Patriots defense is relatively vulnerable to the run game, and I would just rely on that. Kenneth Walker should walk out of there with a minimum of 20 carries in that game. Win or lose, you should hang your hat on that. So at least you gave it the effort. And then on the defensive side of the Seahawks, if I was them, I would play back. I wouldn't feel the need to be overtly aggressive, and I would force Drake May to be a perfect QB. If he has 13, 14 play drives and ends up scoring, you hang your hat on that, right? But statistically, he's not going to be able to do that many times, and he's a second-year QB. So if that's how he beats you, by going on these 13, 14, 15 play drives all the way down the field, congratulations, Patriots. You won the Super Bowl. You earned it, right? So that's what I would say. Don't get into a situation to where you feel like you need to blitz this guy, because the thing that's really going to hurt them is if they're able to stretch the ball deep with Matt Collins and Kyle Williams. So that would be how I feel the Seahawks could manage the game on this part. Now, with that being said, who do I have to win? I am pretty biased. I don't know what it is. It is something about New England, man. I just can't put my finger on it. Something about New England. Maybe it's the fans, but they are just so unlikable as a group of people, as a region of the United States. There's no way I'm going to say that the Patriots are going to win this game. I'm sorry. The ghost of Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, still lingers on that Patriots team. And there's no way I would ever root for the Patriots. And there's I mean, let's just call it for what it is. You know, you look at Drake May. Again, Drake May's a second-year QB. You look at his performance in the playoffs. Granted, he's probably faced the best string of NFL defenses in NFL history in terms of back-to-back in a playoff game. But at the same time, he has a bunch of turnover issues. And he's turned over the ball way more than Sam Darnold has in the playoffs. And if you look at the Seahawks in the playoffs, they've been very dominant. They're 2 games in the playoffs. So I lean more for the Seahawks. At the end of the day, I am going to lean more on veteran QB play with Sam Darnold. I'm going to lean on a slightly better defense with the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm going to lean on the fact that this Patriots team is vulnerable to the run game, which suits the Seahawks even better. Kenneth Walker gets 20 carries and ends up with 2 touchdowns. I think the Seahawks got it. But if for some reason Sam Darnold has to go out there and has to throw for them to win, I actually feel more confident about Sam Darnold throwing than Drake May, just based off of what I've seen, just based off of the TD turnover ratio in the playoffs. Other than that, I'm pretty interested in how this is going to go. Oh, one more thing I'm going to mention before I head out of here. I want to talk about the halftime show here with Bad Bunny. I'll make it very brief. At the beginning, I wasn't too thrilled. I have heard Bad Bunny songs at Mexican bars, so I know who he is. I do like some of his songs, but I don't know Spanish. So I didn't know how to feel with someone singing songs in a language that I didn't know for a Super Bowl halftime performance. The more and more I've thought about it, what I will say is I do think that musicians and pop stars do put on better performances than rappers do in halftime shows. So with that being said, I am willing to give it a shot. And I'm hoping, if I've learned anything from being at a Mexican bar, I'm hoping the performance is absolutely outstanding and it's some very outstanding dancing. Because if you ever partied with Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, anyone from South America or Latin America of any nature, you know they are outstanding dancers. So if he does a little bit of that, then I'm for it. Let's try something new. You know, the NFL wants to be international. We'll see if that happens. And this is one way to at least get it started. And Bad Bunny is one of the most popular artists on the planet. So I get it. It's about the money. It's all about the money. So you guys let me know. Really want to hear your thoughts about the Super Bowl. But if you have something you want to say about Bad Bunny, then go ahead. What are your comments about Bad Bunny? Do you think this is good? Do you think this is bad? Who would you like to see as a Super Bowl halftime show? All that stuff. But other than that, go ahead, like, follow, subscribe, check out all of our other content. And with that, we are out. And I will see you in the next one.